everyone, and welcome to today's Talking Reds in association with Tokyo Time. Happy Wednesday, happy match day as it is today. Now, you may notice that Rob Gutman's actually been in a time machine. Someone's warned him of the dangers of drinking, and someone's done something to his eyes, and we've come out with Josh Sexton. So, hello, Josh.
I feel like I'm a much more youthful looking Rob Gutman. It's not to say that Rob looks old, but I think I look very young, as the comments seem to love to point out.
Well, that time machine did travel quite far. It's all right. It's not so far that Josh doesn't know enough about Red Star Belgrade, because I will be grilling him on it later on in the show, as obviously we build up to the game. So actually, let's start there. There isn't really any better place to start. We are playing tonight. It's the third game in our Champions League group. We're currently in second place with 3 points from 2 games. But with our 2 big rivals to the group playing each other and us playing unarguably the weakest team in the group, Josh, this is a real opportunity for us to put ourselves in charge of the group from an early stage. Yeah,
absolutely, especially given that it's back-to-back fixtures, and tonight feels like the sort of perfect almost stepping stone for it. I remember when we played Maribor back-to-back last year, and we played them away first, but when we battered them 7-0, you sort of went into the home leg thinking that, you know, we're going to be able to do something similar, albeit it was only 3-0 in the end. But it's also a big opportunity in terms of sort of Liverpool's current run of form, because I think that, you know, we've not really seen this front three click yet, and we've been talking for weeks and weeks, and I know me and Craig did Talking Reds on Monday, and we're going, oh, when this front line clicks, and everyone's going, yeah, but we've been saying when since the start of the season, when's it going to actually happen? But these kind of fixtures feel like the ones where you can probably put a few goals past someone.
I think, well, something else that we say a lot of, an early goal is probably going to do the trick, because that was what happened when they went away in Paris. They got a couple of early goals down, and then it seemed like they kind of disintegrated a little bit, and Paris were able to run up the goals. Now, is there a danger that we look at that game and we think it's going to be too easy? Because, I mean, this is a team that are top of their league, unbeaten in 12 games. They've won the 3 games since then without blowing teams away. They're going to have some confidence going into it.
Yeah, well, if you're going to believe Jurgen Klopp's words of what he was saying yesterday, they're going to make it as tough as they did in the PSG game, which I watched the highlights back this morning just to check that, you know, when I actually watched the game live, I was seeing some difference to Jurgen, and it just looked like they were completely outclassed by PSG. And I know we were talking at the top of the show, and it is the sort of game that PSG are probably accustomed to playing in the French league. They'll play a lot of that sort of calibre of opponent probably week in, week out, but then you're talking about their form in the Serbian league, and I don't imagine the Serbian league's up to much.
It's not a high standard, it's fair to say, and the teams that they have beaten in that run are all mid-table teams, and they haven't been blowing them away, so you can take it all with a pinch of salt. But one thing they're not going to have on their favour, officially, one thing they're not going to have in their favour is their support, because Red Star Belgrade fans have been banned, or should I say, Red Star Belgrade have been banned from selling tickets. I'm not sure that's exactly the same as banning the fans from the ground, because as we saw in the Paris game, they were banned for that, and about 1,000 of them turned up. Now, we have seen that there's going to be extra police both at the ground and in and around town for this game, because obviously they've got a bit of a reputation. There's a reason they've been banned. Stuff like pitch invasions, illicit, as they call it, chants, but I think you all know what that means, and the like. So, is there a danger here with us going into it assuming that it's going to be only us in the ground, and then they do surprise us maybe with a hardcore following, and that kind of throws a few people off, do you think?
I don't think so, because I sort of think that part of what's so good about away sport, particularly European away sport, is the sort of the view of them all being in that one bit of the ground and all bouncing along to the same tune. Whereas I don't think, like, even if they manage to get 1,000, I don't think they're going to get that. They might have, you know, a couple of them dotted around in different bits of the ground. It's not going to be the same. It would be very sort of sporadic support. So I think that will be officially, as you say, working against them in this game. And I think I can't see Liverpool fans creating loads of an atmosphere. I know it's a sort of European night under the lights, but it's Red Star Belgrade at home. So
this is what I'm afraid of, because obviously Liverpool were worried about that as well, so they put in that really good initiative to try and give some of the away section over to younger fans. So there's going to be a section for, I think it's 17 to 21 year old fans to come in, and also that means there's going to be a lot of local fans in. Hopefully a new generation of Liverpool supporters going to start from that. But obviously if there are people who are some Red Star fans who are going to be wily and find their way in. A bunch of rowdy Red Star fans and a bunch of kids. It's not really a great recipe, is it? It could go a little bit tits up there.
Just have to hope for the best, I think.
Yeah, well, with fingers crossed. So yeah, if you are in that area, it's probably best to keep your wits about you. Maybe kind of listen out for accents and the like. But going back to the game now, obviously team news from a Liverpool perspective, we know now that Jordan Henderson's not going to be playing, we know Naby Keita's not going to be playing. We have heard that the rest of the injury doubts do look like they're going to be in contention. What are you expecting to see from this team?
I think, and I'm sort of hoping that Trent will come back in. I was hoping for that for the Huddersfield game, and then it wasn't to be. And I don't think that Gomez or Lovren had particularly bad performances. I think they've sort of had two good games against City and Huddersfield there. But I think Trent just gives you something a bit different to what Gomez gives you, and then Gomez gives you something a bit different to what Lovren gives you at centre back. So I think I'd like to see them two sort of shift in again. With
that in mind, then the fact that you said Lovren didn't exactly play badly, do you see this as a potential rest for Virgil?
I think so, yeah. I was sort of going through my notes today, and I thought, well, it's going to be Gomez and Van Dijk, isn't it? And I actually thought, well, if Van Dijk's rib injury is sort of this ongoing thing, then maybe it is good that he doesn't play 2 games in a week. So if that is the case, then I could see him getting a rest and Lovren playing as the left centre-back with Gomez at right centre-back.
Now, obviously, for Lovren and in particular for Xherdan Shaqiri, there might well be an emotional connection to this game, considering where they're from. And with Shaqiri in particular, it's quite interesting because the actual Red Star chairman has come out and spoken about it, about how he will find it impossible to play in the away leg. He's actually come out and said. For those of you who don't know, Shaqiri was born in what at the time was called Yugoslavia to parents of Kosovo and Albania. He was heavily fined for his Albanian eagle gesture against Serbia for Switzerland during the World Cup, and obviously he feels a certain emotional connection to these kind of games and these kind of problems. So do you think it's one of those things where Jurgen will say to him, okay, go out and prove yourself in this game and maybe we won't start you in the away leg?
I think it's one of them where if you're a football manager, it's probably the sort of thing that where you earn your coin, really, isn't it? It's where you really earn your money, because I think there'd be a lot of managers who say, well, go out there and harness that emotion, like taking every boo and then show them and put one in from 30 yards. And I think Shaqiri is completely capable of doing that. But I do wonder whether Jurgen's a bit different, whether he'd rather he does play this game tonight, like you say, and then takes the away leg out. And I think that'll probably be the best, I want to say, in terms of it, sort of the pressure that's on him. Because I do think he needs this game tonight, and I do think he should start, and I think he should start in midfield behind the sort of usual front three.
Yeah.
I just think he gave us a different dimension against Huddersfield at the weekend. I thought there was a couple of times where I think he looks almost in that sort of Oxlade-Chamberlain mould where he's making runs forward, and obviously the way the goal's created where Gomez passes it forward, he does a bit of a run and pass on. It's very Chamberlain from last season-esque, so I think he can be that player that we've probably been missing in midfield. So I'd sort of like to see him do that again, and particularly behind that front three, because I think they've all been sort of not at their best lately.
It could be a game for them to fill the boots. So yeah, it's an interesting shout. Okay, so if we can take Shaqiri in the midfield three, we've pretty much heard it confirmed, well, as much as Jurgen ever confirms, that Fabinho is probably going to be starting this game. So who's your third midfielder? Milner, Gini, for example?
I think Gini, yeah. I think Milner played, I know Gini did as well, but I think Milner played a lot of football at the start of the season, and I know he's an absolute machine.
He's Iron Man, though.
Yeah, so it's probably not going to affect him, but I'd like to see him come back in at the weekend. So I think probably the best one for this would be Gini. Also, just because he's a bit more legs than Milner as well, isn't he? He's a bit more of a ball carrier than Milner is, and I think if you're going to play someone like Fabinho, you do need a bit of a ball carrier and someone who can be almost the link between Fabinho and Shaqiri if it is going to be them two.
And he is very good at arriving in the box late as well, which might be something we look to utilise with this game.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, we've already said Red Star Belgrade, they're not very experienced in Champions League. In fact, the last time they actually played in the Champions League, they were defending champions back in '92. So it's not really in their pedigree, but they are a well-known team. Everyone knows the name. They may not know a lot of the squads. I think the only guy that most people will be aware of would be Marco Marin, who went through the Chelsea loan vortex a few years ago, but he's not going to be playing. So it's going to be an interesting one. We don't really know a lot about them as a side, but it's one of those games where I like to think that we only have to worry about what we do to get the result.
Yeah, I think so. I can imagine Klopp sort of been preparing Liverpool in that sense all week as well. I know there'll be Premier League games. I think of Man City, where I imagine the whole week is spent preparing for the opposition and preparing for certain players and the way you're going to deal with certain players. Whereas I think when you're going into a game like this, you're probably more preparing for what you're going to do, and he's probably looking at it thinking, this is how I want the front three to play. This is the way that we're going to get Salah in, get Mane in, and hopefully get as many goals as PSG did in that first leg.
Yeah, do you think goal difference is going to be an issue? Because obviously we don't know what's going to happen in the shake-up between PSG and Napoli. But PSG do have a substantial lead in terms of goal difference so far. So do you think it's something we need to address?
I think it's probably something that is just a bonus, to be honest, particularly at this stage. I think if you can get it, it's good. But I think what's more important in terms of scoring goals for Liverpool is sort of showing that sort of swashbuckling side of us again, because I think it has been a bit lost in recent weeks. And I know Klopp was talking the other week about there being a bit more of a defensive leaning to his side this season, and maybe that's sort of harshed some of the attacking they've been able to do. But I think it's important that they show that touch again, and I don't think it necessarily needs to be done week in, week out, like some other people may think. I think there are times when winning ugly is just absolutely perfect. But I think in these kind of games, and in some of the games in the Premier League, and it's not necessarily that your Huddersfield's away, but maybe Fulham at home we've got coming up, when they've conceded 25 goals this season, you look at them ones and thinking that Liverpool need to sort of start bridging that gap between Man City and the goal difference, because their goal difference in the league is absolutely ridiculous.
It's pretty big, and it's probably only going to get bigger. It's not like they're going to stop scoring anytime soon. So
absolutely not.
But we are still quite early on in the season, so we've got plenty of time to think about that. Speaking of time, do you know what time it is now?
No, I don't.
It's Tokyo time.
Tokyo Time is sponsoring Talking Reds for Wednesdays for the foreseeable future, which were made up about. They're a Liverpool company. They're trying to do things differently. They're trying to do things better, a bit like the Anfield wrap. And so they've set up only recently, but already got a lot of traction for kind of what they want to do. They helped us out in America. They gave us hats to wear over there, and very much needed. They were in that bacon sun next to the pitch watching the Liverpool boys train. So yeah, since then they've come in. They've asked us about doing something a little bit more formal. So that's what we're going to do. So they're going to be sponsoring Wednesdays on the Talking Reds for the foreseeable future. If you're into your baseball caps, you're into your street style, or you know anyone else who is, or you're looking for presents to buy for people, do check out their website. It's tokyotime.co.uk, or follow them on Instagram. They've got loads of styles, something for everyone, and the fit is really, really good. So yeah, cheers to the boys for supporting us. They're supporting us, so do try and support them, tokyotime.co.uk.
Thanks, Gibbo there. And as I said previously, we will be seeing some more Tokyo Time products coming over the coming weeks. Now, I'm not entirely sure how this has happened, but I seem to have become a bit of a fashion person. People are asking me to kind of wear their stuff because they think that I look decent.
What do you mean you don't know why it's happened?
Because it's never happened to me before in my life. I've been the complete opposite of all of this. But as some of you may have noticed, I have a rather fancy MF Doom, the Mouse Against the Mask pin on me, which is courtesy of a very good friend of mine who runs an Instagram account and a website called Rat Pins, which is where you can get stuff like this and many more. Check him out, as I say, on Instagram. He's on Twitter as well, so you'll be able to see the full range of stuff, and you may see me wearing a few more, and I may start giving them out to some of the other lads as well, if they ask me nicely.
Can't ruin this jumper mode, you know what I mean?
Ruin? Yeah, I'm gonna leave you with that one. It is your first time for a while, so I'm not going to dive straight into you. But yeah, be warned. Now, as always, on a match day, we've got plenty of shows coming out. Now, with the Red Star game, we've obviously got the Pink coming out, and we're going to have the post-match pint, which is going to be from Hotel Tier, as it is for every home game. Now, a show that came out yesterday, which you may not have heard so far, is the Under the Lights show, which is kind of the big build-up show to the game. So we've got a little clip from it here to get you all excited.
You love it though. Their tunnel's mad. Have we all seen the tunnel?
Word. It's great, that, isn't it?
It's like the subway under Eggborough Road, right? It's absolutely mad. But funny enough, we have played them before. We played them back in 1973. They won both games 2-1. Beat Shankly's Liverpool in the second round of the European Cup 2-1. But it's a very different side, obviously. And Paul,
slightly different style, is it? They're all there, something in the squad.
Nah, Ben was flying like it. No, but what I mean is that Then Paul Senior, Yugoslavia we're known in football. We're known to have a good national side, and obviously Red Star was the kind of national team. It's kind of a long way from that now, and it's just about Liverpool doing what they know they can do and not turn it into a bit of a dogfight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll go stronger than expected in this. I think we're in a position where it sort of is must win. You can't afford to drop points in either of these games. Really, you've almost got to get maximum points out of these. You don't want to be going to Paris Saint-Germain again, do you? And needing something. No. I don't think so. I think you've got to get yourself into a strong position. These are the two fixtures to do it, and let PSG and Napoli kick fuck out of each other in two fixtures. Hopefully, maybe just a couple of draws there, and Liverpool will see themselves through without having to go to Paris and get a result.
It's great, that show, isn't it, Josh? I always get excited watching them. It's kind of like one of my rituals. I don't watch the BT build-up. If I'm watching the game at home, I'll go and listen to one of those shows. Yeah,
I think Gibbo sort of hosts it perfectly, and I like that Kevin Walsh is becoming a regular fixture on it now as well. Because
which can only be a good thing.
Yeah, he's uber scouse and hilarious. So yeah, if you're not onto that, definitely do give it a listen. It's a really good show.
And if you are going to be in Hotel Tia after the match for the post-match pint, I guarantee you he will be there. So yeah, give him a wave. Now, obviously, as I say, we've got those 3 shows coming up. We've got plenty more stuff coming out over the Anfield Wrap. Next week, I want to give another shout out to our live show that's happening before the Cardiff City match, Saturday 27th, 1 p.m, the Keynes Brewery area. We still haven't fully officially sorted the lineup or what Gibbo is going to be made to do, but rest assured, it's going to be good. He seems to think he's not going to be drinking that much of that early in the day. We'll see about that, John. We'll see about that.
He's been known to dress up as Taylor Swift, so I'm not saying expect that, but you know.
Oh, yeah, that would really, really, really set the night up. And it's out here now, you know, all he can do is refuse. But no, it's going to be a fantastic day. Anyone who's been to one of our live shows, has seen some of the clips we've put up before, knows it's a really good time. Everyone getting excited about the game ahead, and hopefully another big Liverpool win on Saturday against Cardiff. So that's to come. Obviously, as we mentioned yesterday, we've still got our Talk Tonight show, which Gibbo is hosting, which is going to be in memory of Neil Hughes and Mick Woodburn. So tickets are available for that now. Go and see our website as well for those. So yeah, we've had a jam-packed show which we've kind of made a little bit smaller, and I think we've done it very well.
Yeah, I think so. It's been good.
Do you think you've done well enough to maybe come back another time?
Well, I'll have to see whether Gutman manages to find his way back from this time vortex that he's found himself in.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on that. But thank you for watching. Thanks, Josh, for sitting in. And yeah, up the Reds, hopefully in the big win tonight.